outcomes aren't coincidences. Outcomes are creations. And we get to choose what we're creating. And when you write your outcomes with clarity and intention, your visions turn into reality. Hello. I'm Michele Phillips, and welcome to Write Your Outcome. What do I even mean by that? What is Write Your Outcome? Well, I will tell you, up until 1997, I really let the world have its way with me. I was born with a pretty positive outlook, but a bad temper. So when the events of my life did not go my way, I learned at a very early age, yelling and screaming would get me someplace. And unfortunately, my first job was at Verizon, where I was answering phones, and the customers that yelled and screamed got what they wanted. So while my life was going really well, I did have a bad temper. And then in 1997, I had a transformational realization that I was the one responsible for my outcomes. And this was huge for me, to say the least. It literally changed the entire trajectory of my life. Again, up until then, I let the world have its way with me. When things went my way, I felt good. And when they didn't go my way, I didn't feel good. And then I learned I had a say. Maybe not in what was happening, but the outcome I wrote. Even if I experienced a bad event or something I didn't want to happen, I got to choose the outcome, how I looked at it. And I learned in 1997 three things, that I have control over three things. I have control over where I put my energy and where I focus, the story I tell, the meaning I assign to events, aka I get to write the outcome, and the actions I take. And this learning changed my entire life. So that's why I'm so passionate about this topic, and why I am going to walk you through what Write the Outcome is and how you can apply it to your life. Now, back when I learned this, I was a small thinker. I was brought up in a pretty average household, blue collar, and my goals were to, get married, buy a house, and have 2.3 children. I don't even know what that means, but there's a certain societal expectations. I like to call them the unspoken rules of society. And up until then, my life was going pretty good. I graduated from college, I got married, I bought a house, and I got a job with benefits. Pretty good. I thought I was doing pretty good. And then I started reading, and I went to seminars and workshops, and this really opened my mind to a whole other level. And that's where Write the Outcome came in. So back then, the first thing I started with was just goal setting. Let me set some goals for myself. And the first year I set goals was 1997. And I'm embarrassed to tell you, the goal I set for myself that year was to read 4 books. That's how afraid of this I was. I really didn't realize how much control I had over my destiny and my outcomes. So in 1997, I set a goal that I would read 4 books, 1 a quarter. I then broke it down to 10 pages a day. At the end of that year, I read 33 books. I was like, whoa, if I could read 33 books in a year, what else can we do? Let's start to write new outcomes. What are the outcomes we want? I went home to my then husband. I was so excited about this new technology. And we realized that for the past 10 years, we had been giving lip service to some goals that we had. One of them was he wanted to get his private pilot's license, and I wanted to go back for my master's degree. And literally for 10 years, all we did was talk about it. Blah, blah, blah. Someday I'm going to get my master's degree. Someday I'm going to get my pilot's license. Have you ever somedayed yourself until you realize the day is now? So with this new idea of writing the outcome, I said, let's do this year. Let's write the outcome. So we wrote the outcome that I remember I was even too afraid to write that I was going to graduate. I just wrote I would be enrolled in a master's program. and he was going to go for his private pilot's license. And I distinctly remember the hot summer day where he took me flying for the first time when he was getting his license. It was really hot summer day, and I know it really well, unfortunately, because it was the day that JFK Jr. Went missing in his plane. And we went out to Teterboro, New Jersey, to a flight school called Millionaire, and we got in this little Cessna. And the Cessnas are so small, I could put my hands on each window. I call it a Volkswagen with wings. And it was myself, my current husband, my former husband, and the flying teacher. And it was so hot that day. I remember and there's no air conditioning in these things. So you go up in the air, and I just remember the sweat was like just pouring down my body, and there's nothing you could do about it. And we went up a little bit, and there was all this buzz at the airport that JFK was missing, which is totally nothing to do with the story, but it was a monumental day, so I'm putting it in the story. And our plane that we were in had something wrong with it. So we had to go back to the airport, get another plane, go up again. And when we flew over our house in Rockland County, my husband said to me, look out the window, look for our house, look for our house. So I was looking for our house. You're looking down into this, far away. And then I saw something on the lawn in our backyard. And I was like, what is that? And there's this giant sign on our backyard in that brown butcher paper that people use. And it said, congratulations, Michele. And all our friends and family were on the ground looking up at us and waving. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're having a party at our house? The house isn't clean, of course, my first thought. But the real gem of this is that I was graduating from Fordham University with my master's degree, and Stephen was getting his private pilot's license. Something that until we learned how to write the outcome, we had only talked about. So I always share this story because it's one of the first big results I got when I started using this. And I always say, share my story not to say, oh, look at me, I'm so great. I share my story so that you say, yeah, me too. If she could do it, so can I. And that's the beauty of Write the Outcome. This technology, this methodology, whatever you want to call it, it's here for everyone. It's not just for some. I considered myself just an average, regular person who was going to get a job with benefits and work for the rest of my life. And then I learned this, and it opened up totally new pathways. I learned that outcomes aren't coincidences. Outcomes are creations. And we get to choose what we're creating. And when you write your outcomes with clarity and intention, your visions turn into reality. Now, the beauty of Write the Outcome also is that it's not something you just do with big goals. I was giving a workshop yesterday in where was I? Charlotte, North Carolina. And the leader said to me, Michele, I was thinking of, writing the outcome for my big goals for the end of the year. And then she said, you know what? I could write the outcome not to be upset when I get home at the end of the day and the house is a mess. And I said, yes, that's the beauty of Write the Outcome. Yes, it works for big goals, but you get to write the outcome of every segment of your day. You can decide you want to have a really calm commute to work if you're one of those people that still commutes to work, or that you are going to have a really successful outcome in a meeting, or if you have to have a difficult conversation with an employee, before you have the conversation, you could decide to write the outcome that it's going to go really well because you are going to connect your head to your heart, and this person is going to know you care about them. So let's dig into Write the Outcome. Over the years, I have had various iterations of this, but I really landed on 7 steps. And in this initial podcast, I am going to share the first 3 steps with you, which is all you need to get started. And let me tell you, it really shapes your mindset, which in turn shapes your actions. And writing the outcome fuels your focus and aligns your energy. And when you are focused and aligned where you want to go, you get there faster. And with this practice, you are not reacting to life like I used to do all the time. I reacted to everything and I had bad reactions. You are designing it. So that's what gets me so excited about this methodology. So let me tell you the first 3 steps, and then I will walk you through one at a time. So the first step is just identifying where you are and how you feel. The second step is write the outcome. What is the outcome you want? And the third step, this is where a little bit of the work comes in, is to reframe any unwanted resistance. Because based on how you're feeling right now in the moment and where you want to be, there might be a disconnect, and that's okay. And I'm going to teach you how to ever so gently move yourself closer to what you want. So the first step is deciding what you want. Not deciding what you want, is deciding where you are and how you feel. So let me give you an example. Rate your current emotional state. If you had to say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm feeling really great, I'm feeling a 10, or 1, I'm not feeling so good. So if I use my example of the master's degree, I was feeling okay. I was maybe a 6 or 7, but I was feeling bad about giving it lip service and not doing anything about it. Did you ever just get so sick of yourself? You keep saying you want to do something, and you've just never done it. So if I had to say, where was I at that time in my life? My dominant emotion was maybe confusion. And I think that's really interesting because we think confusion is a safe place, but it really keeps us stuck. So not knowing what to do next, not knowing, where was I going to go to school or what did I want to go for? I wasn't even sure what I wanted to go for at the time. So that confusion felt like a safe place, but it really was it's almost like you're living in limbo because you're not really going for what you want. So you identify the emotion. Right now, I'm feeling frustrated because I know I want a degree, but I really don't know how to get there. And I don't know what the next step is. So now that I've identified the emotion as frustrated, the next step is to realize that my emotion is not my identity. It's really important. An emotion is how you're feeling in the moment. It's not who you are. So again, a lot of us identify with our emotions. And if you're having a really bad time, you're going through a hard time, you're not in a good place, I will permit you a pity party because life isn't fair. I always say life isn't fair. A fair is that thing down the street with the merry-go-round and the Ferris wheel. That's a fair, right? Life, unfortunately, isn't fair. So we find ourselves in situations and in places where we don't want to be. That's okay. So if you feel life hasn't been fair and you're not where you want to be, that's okay. Throw yourself a pity party, but I'm giving you 15 minutes. Really? Get over it. So it's okay to feel your feelings. This technology is never about ignoring your feelings, but about processing them. And once you feel them and process them and talk about what you don't want, maybe journal about what you don't want, it's then time to move on. And the old analogy I love is when you get in a bathtub and, after a day that you were just maybe working in the garden and you're all full of dirt, the bathtub water gets dirty, but you don't stay with the dirty bath water. You get out. So the same thing with your emotions. You can wallow in your emotions for the 15 minutes I'm giving you. But then you got to get up and keep moving, right? Because you can't stay in the dirty bath water. So when the time is up, I now need you to shift. And the question I love to ask myself is, am I willing to pay the price for happiness? Am I willing to pay the price for happiness? It's easy to complain. It's easy to blame. It's easy to, talk about what I don't want. But if I really want this thing, I got to do something, right? And that's the beauty of this. So the biggest thing right now is what small step can I take? Just a small step to shift my mindset, to shift how I'm feeling. So it could be buying a book. It could be going online and doing some research. It could be calling someone and asking them for advice. So once you identify where you are and how you're feeling, and maybe throw yourself a little pity party, the next step is to write your outcome. What do you want? I want my master's degree. What do you want? I want my pilot's license. What do you want? I want a promotion. I want a raise. I want to be the lead on a project. I want to build a house in the country. I don't know. What do you want? So write down what you want and then visualize it or journal about it, or really both. The second step is to picture yourself achieving it. Not only picturing yourself as you've already achieved it, but then really tapping into the emotions of what it would feel like if you achieved it. So what emotions come up if you are, getting your degree? What emotions come up if you got that big promotion or you're made the lead on the next project? So really, I'm a big believer in journaling. There's something very powerful that's been proven in research that when you journal, you are activating 4 of your 5 senses. You are writing down kinesthetically what you want. You are seeing what you want on the page, and you are saying it to yourself and hearing it. So when you write something down, remember I talked about how I was confused. I didn't know what to do next. Writing breeds clarity. And when you have clarity, you have power. And I love quotes and I love analogies. Or metaphors. So I have this great analogy or metaphor of when you go outside on a sunny day and you put a magnifying glass to some leaves, you can take all the power of the sun and focus it on that magnifying glass, so much so that you could start a fire. That's what you do when you journal. You slow down everything and you are just focused on what it is you are journaling and what you want. And that in itself is activating all these emotions in you, all these good emotions. So again, picture yourself achieving what you want. Think about the emotions and then feel the emotions. And once you write it down in your journal, you can even, if you're in a place where you can close your eyes and do a visualization, highly recommend it. If you're not in a place where you can visualize it, you can just close your eyes. You could just write it down. And then before you go to sleep that night, you could visualize it. Every top athlete uses visualization, and it works really good with the Write the Outcome method. It's literally just seeing in your mind's eye what you want to have happen in your real life. And it is so powerful, but if you're not one who has practiced in this, you'll realize how difficult it could be sometimes because your mind is bouncing all over the place. So it really becomes a discipline. And I love the term like the mastermind. A mastermind is someone who has mastered their mind. So step 1, identify where you are and how you're feeling. Step 2, describe your ideal scenario and write your outcome. Reclaim your power. You may have not been able to write the past, but you get to write the future. You have control. And now number 3, really important step is to reframe any unwanted resistance. Because if you say, this is how I'm feeling kind of low, I'm feeling frustrated was the term I used, and this is where I want to be, there's a gap between these two things. So ask yourself, where is the resistance coming from? Is my fear real? Is this resistance real, or is it a mental projection? 99% of the time, it's a mental projection, because I always say, unless there's somebody standing in the doorway and not letting you live your life, make your choices, you're creating reasons and excuses for why you can't have something. So once you feel that, so let's say I was at frustration. So I'm feeling frustrated. Okay, well, maybe I'm not frustrated. Maybe I'm just a little overwhelmed. So overwhelmed because I don't know. I just don't know where to start. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed, maybe I'm just disappointed. Okay, disappointed feels a little bit better than overwhelmed and a lot better than frustrated. So do you see, every time I'm kind of talking about the emotion I'm feeling, I'm releasing some of the angst. So I go from frustrated to overwhelmed to disappointed to content. Let's try content. Oh, you know what? I'm doing okay right now, right? I went to college, I got married, I have a great job. So if I'm content, now I could be maybe move to hope. I still do want to go to school. So let me do some research. Let me talk to some people. Let me find out what I need to do next. So once you start to reframe the resistance, you literally feel a release in your body. And when you feel that release in your body, it's almost like, releasing a cork from under the water and it just pops up. And that release and that energy means you are in your personal energy alignment. You are mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally in this zone. So an athlete would call it the zone, and a positive psychologist would call it the flow state. And that is a state where you are mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally connected to a really good, powerful power, energy. And that's what we're looking for. So the first step, how am I feeling where I am? The second step, write the outcome. And the third step is to reframe any unwanted resistance. And the way you reframe it is simply by how you look at it. How your perspective is everything. One of my colleagues took a job in another state, and her goal was to commute back and forth. So she got an apartment in this new state. She furnished it. She went to work for this new company. And within 3 months, she hated it. And she said to me, oh my gosh, I feel like such a failure. I bought this apartment. I moved out here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you be a failure? The way you perceive this, the way you reframe this resistance you're having right now is everything. So what I want you to do is, come back, hold your head high. You took a chance. 99% of the people didn't take the chance. You did. You are badass, lady. You are brave. You are amazing. And the way you handle this is the way everyone will handle it. So again, that's what write the outcome does for you. No matter what events are taking place in your life, you get to write the outcome. And what you write, everyone will follow you. I promise you. I can't teach you this in words, but you could try it on and prove it to yourself. And again, the goal here is to connect your head to your heart and just release resistance. And as you release resistance and you get in that flow state, that zone, your brain becomes supercharged, brilliant, and powerful. So what are the takeaways from today's podcast? You always have more power than you think. Most of us have been taught to live from the neck up and just, what do you think? What do you think? With Write the Outcome, I am asking you to connect your head to your heart. And when you connect to your head, your heart, and even if I say your gut, you have more power. So again, if you are ready to take anything to the next level, your personal life, your career, your fun, playtime, your travel, tune into me each week where I will be sharing more tips, more tools each week on how you can achieve your goals by writing your outcome. And next episode, I will be giving you the last 4 steps that go with the first 3 that I gave you today. Michele Phillips, Write Your Outcome.